Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Café. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today we welcome my guest, Justin Williams. How are you, brother?
I'm great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by all the way from the borough of Queens.
Of course.
I think we should just move the show to Queens because we have so many guests from there.
Welcome anytime, sure.
I love me some Queens, though.
Yeah, we could shoot in York College. That'd be great.
You can shoot at York College.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Caribbean food, the Guyanese food.
Oh, yeah.
The Trinidadian food. Oh my God, there's just so much food over there.
Well, the food trucks, I used to be a teacher at York College, so the food trucks used to line up there quite often, and the oxtail. It's perfect.
I mean, I used to live in South Ozone Park. I lived there for maybe 6 months, maybe less.
Okay.
But it gave me an opportunity to really understand the borough, and I do love the energy over there. Actually, I shopped there. My image consultant, who's also from Queens Village, we go out there and we pick out some clothes, and I think everything I'm wearing right now is from Queens, except these bees. They're from Honolulu.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Queens, the borough is going through a lot. The Coliseum Mall closed last month, and I'm rather devastated. What part of the borough are you from?
Jamaica.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, how do you feel before we go into your illustrious story? Because you got a lot to talk about, young man.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts? I just want to get anybody from Queens that's come on the show. I'm interested in hearing their thoughts because the transition of Jamaica Avenue from awesome mom and pop stores to luxury high rises is just, I'm just not happy about that. What are your thoughts?
You know, I started working at York College as a professor about 5 years ago.
Right.
And my mother's from St. Albans. My dad was from Hollis. They met at PS 192.
So, just Queens.
Queens, yeah, very Queens.
You're very Queens, yeah.
And I told my mother one day after teaching, this is going to be the new Williamsburg. And I didn't necessarily mean that in a positive
Williamsburg,
way.
Brooklyn.
Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to frequent Williamsburg all the time back in the 50s, 60s after the war. And he said it was filled with what Jamaica is pretty much known for. But now what's happening in stores, mom and pop, kind of, and black ownership.
Right.
You're losing that now.
Right.
And they're going to buy up a lot of the houses that are stacked on top of each other, and they're going to build high rises.
Right.
And if it was equitable, great.
Right.
But gentrification rarely is.
Right.
So you're going to get more celebrities in there. You're going to get more of just communities that don't really know the area.
Right.
So eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have people come in and say, oh, you sound like you're from somewhere where you're from. It's like, I'm from Queens. This is my accent.
Right.
And it's going to all disappear and dissipate culturally.
I feel like it started when, now I've been living in New York City for 30 years. I lived in Brooklyn first, then I moved to Queens, then I hopscotched all over the city. I've lived in all the boroughs except for Manhattan.
Right.
And I feel like Queens, or at least Jamaica, Central Queens has changed. South Central Queens' face changed once the AirTran was built from the Sutphen Boulevard station to the airport.
Right.
Once that happened, I felt like that was when things began to change. Buildings began to get taller. Stores began to get boxier.
Right.
But at any rate, salute to everybody in Queens, and I hope they manage to keep it together.
Keep going, man.
Yeah.
Keep fighting.
Speaking of your dad, Eric Williams, we were talking about your roots. Although he's from Queens, he had a love for Greek mythology.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so he was a guy that could be white passing. And because of that, he shifted towards things that he was trying to remember his mother. His mother left him when he was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he was trying to get in touch with a culture that I think he didn't know growing up in Hollis.
Right.
And he got a scholarship to go to a private school. And when he did, he just fell in love with the characters of Greek mythology because they're all about power. And that's something he didn't have.
Right.
He had no agency, no power. His father was a military guy, a mason, a contractor. His father felt a little powerless raising a young kid on his own, a kid who was a nationally recognized athlete, student. Went to Princeton University on a scholarship. Could have gone to Penn. Was recruited by I think it was Chuck Daly, who eventually was the coach of the Pistons.
Right. Okay.
Was coach at UPenn at the time.
Yeah.
And my father just wanted to, when he was raising me, impart that same kind of lineage. That though he did study West African ancient religion, a lot of Middle Eastern, Native American. He knew it all. With Greek mythology, he loved the character of Ares, Zeus, Hermes, because for him, it's the first democratization of religion.
Right.
That you have, people think that the Mediterranean was just a bunch of kind of white people at the time, but Mediterranean was built off the backs of Egypt and Nubia and Meroe, these African nations. And a lot of them worship Greek gods. So he wanted me to understand that the world had always been a multicultural place.
Very interconnected.
Interconnected place. And so when I was going into mostly white schools, he wanted me to carry that kind of power.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And then your godfather, Greg Howard, a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer, had a huge influence on where your career would go. Let's talk about that because he, according to what I read, he seemed to have been connected with some Martin and other sitcoms as well.
So yes, that's Sam Art Williams, my uncle. Yes, but Greg Howard is my godfather too.
Okay.
Greg Howard did Remember the Titans, the Disney movie.
Right. Okay.
Sam Art Williams was
That's why you're looking so confused.
No.
Damn notes.
No, it's okay. So Sam was my uncle. He was a former boxing partner of Muhammad Ali.
Okay, wow.
He was 6'9". Wow. He was about 260. And he could tell you a story anytime, anywhere. And you would just be enraptured by what he could talk to you about. Pulitzer Prize winning playwright of Home, which was a popular play in the 70s and 80s, revisited back in the early 2000s. And then he went on to star in The Wonder Boys as a gangster. He also starred as Jim in the Disney version of Huckleberry Finn.
Okay.
And then from there, he went behind the camera.
Right.
So he was a producer of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for the first 3 seasons.
Wow. You yourself, we're talking about all these other outside influences, man, but you yourself, Princeton University in Jersey, very, very prestigious school for the 2.5 people on the planet that don't know. But at Princeton, man, you had some life lessons.
Oh, yes.
Grief, self-doubt. How did you get such a dark collection of lessons at such a prestigious and bright school? Explain that to me.
Yes, I think because of what hit me at the end of my junior year, beginning of senior year, was particularly traumatic. Before then, I was a rower, a rugby player. I helped start one of the first African-American a cappella groups called Old Nassau. Okay. The first group in the Ivy League to do primarily black music.
You was an Ivy League student.
So I was ingrained. I was ingrained in the culture of the school, and I was having a great time. Okay. Then my father passed away.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. He had a heart attack. My mother had breast cancer at the same time, and then my one close friend and my best friend died 2 months later.
All of this was happening.
All this within 6 months.
As you were a junior at Princeton.
So I was going into the end of my senior year, and but my mother's breast cancer was a little bit earlier, so it was all connected, and it was all crescendoing at the same time. And I tried to rely on family members or anything I really could, the school, but I would say at the time, the school was not equipped to handle such a situation.
What time period are we talking about when you were at Princeton?
We're talking about around 2009.
Okay, yeah.
So when I would have normally graduated, I had to defer a year. Yeah. And that led to some ostracization, that led to a lot of more trauma, because there were some good characters at the school. I'm not going to say there weren't. They genuinely tried to help me. Right. But it seemed with every trauma, they kept saying, take a year off, take a year off. Yeah. Instead of saying, well, how can we fix some of these heart issues that you have? Right. Do you need to talk to someone on a weekly basis for free? Right. Can we subsidize you getting therapy that you need? Grief. Can we maybe do something with the accreditation? Right. Right, so that school's not so tough for you, given that there's a rare situation, especially with your father being an alum.
Do you think that might have been because being that it was an Ivy League school, their focus might have been more on just education and excellence than the the real lives of their students?
Our motto is we're in the nation's service, but we're not necessarily in the service of individuals.
Right.
There's this collectivist atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I think it infiltrates the administration, not the student body and not the alums.
Right.
But no one really knows how to change that problem.
Right.
It's been a problem since my dad was there. My dad routinely remembered walking around, not having anyone to talk to, with people basically dumping waste on black students. He was one of 13 of the first black students there in the 70s.
Wow.
And he remembers and recalls that the school did not embrace, they embraced it on the face of it. And as you know, right? Like, if you have a public face that says this is going well, in private, it doesn't really have to go well.
Right.
And that's kind of what it was like for me. I don't think for me it was a racial issue like it was for my father. It was a matter of emotions. And they didn't want to steep into those waters.
How did you deal with, and this is, I want you to think inward as I'm asking you this, how did you deal with having to complete exams at an Ivy League school where there's a lot of competition, watching your father, well, your father had a heart attack, I'm assuming that was pretty sudden, but having lost your father, then watching your mother suffer from breast cancer, that takes a lot of strength. How were you able to balance that and books?
To be honest, I wasn't able to do it very effectively. I would routinely miss tests, miss assignments, miss homework. I did what I could to study and stay afloat. So instead of being maybe a B student, I was shifted down to a C and a D student. For me, I didn't really care anymore because I didn't think I was going to go anywhere. Life was pretty much over at that point, and I was just wallowing. I did do one thing though that did set up the future, and what I would eventually do is I went to one of my teachers and I said, I'm really struggling here and I don't know what to do. And his name was Eddie Glaude. He's a pretty famous guy now. He's on MSNBC. And he said, you just seem so shackled. And I distinctly remember a character from religious studies that was shackled and how that character overcame it. And I just went out one night and I just went for a run and I said, I'm going to overcome this. And that was my last time on campus. And then I went on kind of my own sabbatical away from Princeton where I recovered. But I had to leave to do that.
We're going to, and you have another part to this story, and we're going to talk about that when we come back. And we're back here on Sessions Cafe with Justin Williams. So your experience at Princeton University, one of the nation's top schools, really afforded you with a plethora of educations, if you will. Obviously the scholastic type of education that you would expect to get from such a prestigious school, but it also gave you some serious life lessons. We talked about your parents and their passing on towards the end of your career as a student at Princeton, but you also experienced homelessness.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Sure. So about 2 months after I left Princeton, I ended up homeless. I was unhoused, as you might say. And I was in New Jersey, and I eventually did get to what you would consider a shelter. And I stayed there for about 6 months to a year.
Now, first of all, how did your experience with homelessness begin? I don't want to jump over that because I think it's a very important part of your journey.
Sure. So I was in a position where people that were once supportive of me in my family no longer were.
Okay.
And I think there was a misunderstanding about my role as the man of the house. And
At what age?
I was only 22.
Okay.
And
This is after Princeton.
After Princeton.
Okay.
And how Princeton had ended had disappointed some people.
Okay.
I was obviously an angry person, but I was still trying to put my life together to see what would become. But without my father there, it really was a domino effect of
course,
who could really not only pay bills, but be the structure in the house.
Right, right.
So I think it was a situation where I looked at kind of running away at that time. I was young.
Yeah.
Not calling anyone.
Right.
Not telling them that I was just going to basically live couch to couch wherever I could.
Yeah.
Even if it was on a street corner or in a hospital, if I could just get there in the ER for a day or something like that. I did that because I had a sense that if I didn't do those things and I went back to status quo, then I would be even more robbed of choice. People would think, oh, well, were you choosing to be homeless? And that's not the case.
Right, right.
I was not allowed to go back to anyone in my family. No one would take me back.
Right.
And the greatest tragedy of it all was that the one person I felt like I probably could call and would take me in, despite us having differences of opinions of many things, would be my father. I don't think he would have stood for it, but he was no longer on this earth.
Right, right.
And I will say that some of the only reasons why I'm here, and if they ever are watching this or see anything that I do in my life or my career, I want them to know that the people I met along the way in shelters and in hospitals were some of the finest people I've ever met in my life, and saved my life by just saying hello to me or being nice for a day. People think that people that go to homelessness, whether they are dealing with maybe a mental trauma or illness, or they are abandoned because some of them are LGBTQ, or they just have a dispute with their family, that it's on them to fix.
Right. Homelessness is always the fault of the individual who's homeless.
Right. Which is insane.
Yeah.
I didn't meet anybody who really was there for any fault of their own.
Right. And certainly nobody wanted to be
Nobody
homeless.
wanted to be
I think
there.
that's a big misconception that we have.
The culture of poverty argument is really stupid.
Yeah,
I learned that, and that's something I did learn to Princeton's credit at school under Mitchell Dunier. People who are in poverty are always trying to get out.
Right.
They just need the opportunity. But we recognized in each other what dreams we had.
Right.
And one of those dreams that they had for me was to write a story or write a book about the things that my dad loved. Because I remember one person came up to me and he said, and he said this to me, he said, you know, they don't leave you if you make them permanent.
Wow.
And when I put my dad's influence into characters, when I put into the influence of characters, people I've met along the way, those places, they are permanent.
Right.
And, you know, the internet's written in ink.
Yeah.
You know, and I did an audio book. My voice is out there, so yeah.
Let's talk about that, man, because out of all of those trials and tribulations that you experienced in your early 20s, both at Princeton and post-Princeton, you did release an audiobook, Reborn, Virtue's Constellation. And it was released on Audible in August of last year.
Yes.
2025. That had to be a phenomenal moment as a fellow author when your book was released.
Yes, it was.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it was great. I have a mentor. Her name is Sandra from DaCosta. She was calling me one day. She said, you know, you have a great voice. You have a podcast. You got to get your voice out there. You got to do something with this book to make it more of you than just something someone would read and not know the author.
Right.
So
Personalize it.
I went for 2 weeks straight, about 3 hours a day, and I just recorded it in my room. And I used some makeshift technologies to make it sound good. I did get linked up with an old friend from Princeton who his brother was an editor.
Okay.
And he spent a lot of great time. His name is Justin Gunter. He spent a lot of time editing the book. We worked together on the sound and getting it ready for Audible. Because that was the goal. We wanted it to be good enough for Audible.
And what is the book about? What's the premise of the book?
Sure. So the premise of the book is a young African-American kid goes to a prestigious university, like myself.
Right.
And he one day wakes up next to his girlfriend. He has a vision of 72 people that he recognizes from campus conspired and murdered him in a past life.
Wow.
And he wakes up out of the vision, and one of the people that he recognizes from the 72 is his girlfriend that's sleeping next to him.
Wow.
So he has enemies everywhere. He goes a little crazy. He climbs up the history building, and he starts calling them out as he sees them on campus. The story then begins at a wellness center, Angel Fire, and he's being released back to school. And what he has to do is he has to piece together the mystery of whether this is real in his head or if these ancient gods, these Western civilization gods, have taken over the world already and they need one particular thing at his one particular campus, and he's the only one who can stop them.
Wow. What's the reception been like?
It's been very good.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, actually.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And does it make you feel like it wasn't all for nothing?
Definitely.
Yeah.
When I was a teacher, I taught high school for a year as a part of a grant, Hempstead High School, and I taught at York College. When I teach to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I tell them the obstacle is always the way. Never give up on anything about yourself that you can do, and don't give up on others.
Right.
That's the most powerful thing, because other people will empower you if you give them a chance.
If you give them a chance, that's right.
Yeah, and everyone is quotable.
That's right.
Listen to what other people are saying about you, themselves, the world. Don't say, oh, because that's from one particular religion or that's from one particular philosophy, it doesn't relate to me. Keep your mind open.
Keep your mind open.
And you'll succeed.
Policy Titans LLC. Let's talk about that briefly before we go into the other great things that we could talk about referencing you. That's your LLC. Talk to me. Explain to me what that.
Sure. So policy is after I went to a political science school, Rutgers, with my best friend. Titans is after Greg Howard, who wrote Remember the Titans. And we like to say you want to join the mountaintop. We work with nonprofits and LLCs to get them ready for whatever they need in terms of funding, partnerships, and fundraising.
Okay. Wow. And are you able to use that for mentorship? Because I'm big on that. I'm personally.
Oh yes. So we, like I said, I'm a former teacher. My business partner also has teaching experience. We impart on other people. We don't just build nonprofits and other things like that. We teach you the tools of whether it's grant writing, grant making, grant consulting, or just how to be in business.
I mean, yeah, here on this show, man, we work with different agencies in New York City to bring in young people to come into the studio. You can see some of them here in the studio, and I think more than just giving them a job per se, is
Give them a career.
It's giving them a career. It's letting them have their hands on their dreams in real time. You know, that's why I asked you about the mentorship, because I tried to, I guess they'll let me know when the session's over whether it works or not, but I also tried to not just be their supervisor, their boss, whatever, I hate that term, but their mentor. I want to be able to groom them to, even though that word has become a bad word, but to groom them and mold them to be in a position to attain their dreams and goals, whether it be through structure or just the experience in general of working here. So that's very important to me. And I think that for our kids, I don't have any kids of my own. And so I think that being able to offer a space where younger people can thrive and feel comfortable and enjoy what they do, I feel that's just really, really super important. So I'm hoping that everybody who has an opportunity to afford that to our young people.
Sure, of course, it's a duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Trend with Justin A. Williams, podcasting, culture, and conversation.
Yes. So I have a podcast. The Trend with Justin A. Williams. It's based off my mother's newspaper.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
So she is one of the only black women to have her own newspaper in New York, the tri-state area.
Okay.
I think the other one was back in the 1920s.
Okay, what was the name of the news, or what is the...
It's called the Trend, New York Trend.
Okay.
So I took the name. We wanted to modernize. We wanted to start shifting the paper into an online magazine,
Right.
but also do some kind of podcasting work. So I decided to host it. And we've been on for 6 seasons now.
Wow.
We've had a plethora of guests. We've had guests that talk about politics, martial arts, economics, dating, all types of stuff.
Okay. I need to have somebody on here, this show, to talk about martial arts.
I can do that. I've been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I'm learning in
Stay
judo.
over there, brother. Stay over there.
Sure. Shaolin Kung Fu, all of
Yeah?
it.
Okay. I actually, when I was about 12 or 11, I think 12, my mother suggested that I take judo, I think it was.
Oh, judo's great.
Just because I said I wanted to take martial arts for whatever reason, I don't know. Man, the first class when they said we had to learn how to do a split was my last class.
Right, of course.
We got a minute left, brother. Who are you now? Who is Justin Williams now?
Endurance. That's the name of the game. For me, I know that I can succeed as long as I can endure something. And I've been through a lot, obviously. Yeah. But I expect to continue to go through things that will stress me out.
Right.
Things that are not always great, a bad day. But it's a mountaintop. And life has gotten tremendously better the more I've realized my own capacities, my own pain tolerance, and to look to making the right kind of alliances in life.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, man.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you were able to share your story with us.
Thank you for having me on.
I wish you continued success in everything that you do, brother.
Thank you, Keri.
You're welcome. And we'll be back next week.